So you're doing the right thing.
God bless America. And he has blessed it with your service. And I want to particularly thank Congressman Charlie Rangel. And let's give him a hand. He is the person that started the brain trust about African Americans and their contributions. How long ago, sir? Over 44, 45 years, how many years? And so he is really the leader. I want to also thank Sanford Bishop and Emmanuel Cleveland, who will be coming in. They're going to call votes in a few minutes. But I also want to thank Ron. Where's Ron? Ron has, the entire time?
The entire time?
The entire time. Let's give him a hand. Years, and keep in mind, these non-paid positions that we demand that you act like you've been paid overtime. Anyway, I think it's so important what we're doing and to frame the history of, you know, African Americans have participated in every single war, and they have, and their service have not always been recognized. And this morning in the Veterans Affairs, we had a hearing, and we had several bills, and one of them was on Arlington Cemetery, and making sure, right, we have about 95,000 slots still available, but making sure as we move forward that we expand those opportunities to make sure that men and women that serve have an opportunity to be their last resting place. The most prestigious place they can be is in Arlington Cemetery, and we passed that bill out of the committee today. And so I want to make sure that any of the African Americans that have participated deserve the opportunity to be in Arlington Cemetery. And so I want to thank you. And now I'm going to bring up the real person that started the Brain Trust, that have been our leader, that went to career and received the medal there. Is that correct? He actually received the medal from the country and thanking them for the liberation. And he has been a leader in this Congress on so many issues, but as far as veterans, nothing. He is the leader. So let's bring him up.
All of you should be so lucky to have someone like Corrine Brown in your corner. You can't lose.
Thank you.
Thanks for all that you have done. And Ron, to be honest with you, when we started, there weren't that many members of the caucus, but he was there from the beginning. As our members grew, our support grew, and we are today because we are there for this, Ron. Thank you. Emmanuel Cleveland will be coming soon, and I want to thank Professor McDonald, Professor Simmons, Professor Brown, and Professor Beasley for academically being able to support this initiative so much, and all of you for coming by to find a little more about this great country that we all love so much. Some of our history is rather painful. But among nations, we're so young. We're only 400 years old. We're the leaders of the world. And the world with countries that are 2, 3, 5,000 years. Yet everyone wants to come here, and we're not thinking about leaving, right? So when you hear the pain of the injustices that we've occurred, you have to combine that with the opportunity to overcome, so that the dreams that we would have, that as badly as human beings and the slaves were treated, that in our lifetime we saw someone who looked like the slaves and a president of the United States. Now, I don't know where these burning desires that American blacks have to to fight and die for their country a little more than other people. With all the medals and the Purple Hearts and Bronze Stars that I received, let me make it abundantly clear, I was not volunteering to get shot. But yet, just as John Lewis and others in the civil rights movement, there are real heroes that were prepared, like Martin Luther King, to put their life on the line because of their belief that their lives was not nearly as important as the overall objective, and that is to make us free. And I volunteered before Korea, which meant that you didn't see me going there trying to liberate South Koreans from North Koreans. My brother volunteered in the Army in September of 1941. That was before the Japanese hit Pearl Harbor, so he hardly could be considered a patriot. But my crazy uncle, and everyone has an uncle like this, always was trying to explain to me as a kid why we should appreciate being Africans more than being symbols of Europeans. And on the weekends, he would take me and say, I gotta have my Charlie with me, snatch me away from my mother. And between the time he would take me waiting outside of bars and listening to black nationalists, it was very, very interesting. But from all of that, as I got older, when he was about 17 years old, he would participate in marching in front of the 369th Armory, 10 blocks away from where I live, with broomsticks, pleading to be a part of the American troops fighting in Europe. Now, Corrine, I don't know what got into him to believe that what was happening in Europe would have any impact on our family or Harlem. But finally, they allowed blacks to join the military and to go overseas and to go in combat. Reminds me in World War II where blacks were fighting to fly into the air. Tuskegee Airmen, who came out to be heroes, fought to fight for this country. And even my brother, he was in a service unit in California fighting to go to Europe. Well, that's what was happening in World War I. When I got out from Korea, the only outfit that I joined was the 369 Veterans. And that was the only one that recognized there was a Korea. And since I was the first one over, the first one to come back, they embraced me. But the rest of them said that was not a real war. But that meant I had to learn more about wars from the people who fought the real wars. And so we had World War II veterans who were older than me, and some World War I veterans. And we had to listen to all of these real veterans' stories. And they asked me, when I went to Congress, could I possibly get a charter for them, because the Congress has closed down all federal charters for all purposes, including veterans. I'm on the Judiciary Committee, and a guy named Hamilton Fish was on the committee, and the chairman was Chairman Rodino, and I was able to get a charter for them. What I had to do with Senator Thurman from Mississippi to get it is another thing, but Lennox Avenue will never find that story out. It turns out that this guy, Hamilton Fish, his father was a captain in World War II. You're nodding in, you ever hear of him? And his father was a part of the 369 that I was a part of Veterans with.
Excuse me, sir.
And his father would always be there when we were marching our annual parade. So how does Hamilton Fish Sr. fit into this? As it turned out, when America allowed these blacks to join the service, it didn't say they would fight with Americans. They had to fight with the French. They were trained by Captain Captain Hamilton Fish. And did he have a fight on his hands with whites not wanting even to be trained with the blacks? But he made it clear, you can have your segregation in the United States, but when we get overseas, if you don't want to be trained with these people, the shooting was going to start here because they were going to be trained there. When these blacks got to Europe and were assigned to Colonel Pershing and the French army, they became the most decorated American troops that ever fought in Europe. And even in races, New York City, when they came back home with the French 40 gear and all of these medals and marched from 23rd Street to 5th Avenue to the very armory that they couldn't join up with, they had a super parade that everybody who looked black didn't know what they were done or what they were doing in Europe. But they felt so proud because of what the Harlem Hellfighters fought for. Incidentally, you don't represent Harlem, so. So when I went to Senator Thurman, and he had read about the 369th, he said, Congressman, I don't normally support any more charters for federal organizations, but these colored boys didn't have to fight. And they volunteered. So if you want to take a picture with me, I'm going to make an exception. And the 369th got their charter. As Corrine Brown said, black people who came here as slaves and treated like animals, treated like they weren't human beings, have fought from the cotton fields to every time we've had a battle for this country. But they just didn't fight. They fought to fight for a racist America. And they've come back after World War II where German prisons were treated better than they were. But you know, John Lewis and Martin Luther King, they had God in their hearts and believing that this country could change. I didn't believe it, but they were right. Thank God they were right. The change can and has come. So now, I'm 86, and I don't want to have no mess when I get up there in heaven and anything. So I'm becoming a believer that notwithstanding Donald Trump, we still are going to overcome and do better. And the fact that you are here and these professors are here to reassure us that in this country we have a mandate to make certain, regardless of what your color is, your sex is, whatever you intend to do, this is the country that you can get it done. And I'm so pleased that the historians will be here to give you the factual data as I give you how my heart feels. Thank you so much for coming.